Mr. Sanjay Sehgal is currently the chairman and CEO of MSys Technologies. He's a multifaceted person donning several hats: a technology entrepreneur, a global businessman, a startup advisor, keynote speaker, philanthropist, a heartful human, a meditation instructor, and a self development enthusiast who has taught meditation techniques to thousands of people as a part of his own self development journey. A compulsive entrepreneur who thrives at the intersection of technology, business development, and fundraising endeavors. Currently, he holds two technical patents and a 28-year-old successful record of building businesses. He has founded and co-founded several companies, including AMI, Ivy Witty, and Centric, and has spearheaded profitable M&A deals for these businesses with data center giants like Adaptec, LSI Logic, Emulex, Brocade, and Seagate. He's a proud alumni of Delhi College of Engineering, graduated in 1988 with BE in Electronics and Communication with distinction. In his current avatar as the chairman and CEO of MSys, he has set the pace for growth by acquiring Clogeny, DigiFutura, Mobinius, and sold a division to Seagate. In the course of his career, he has earned several awards, including India Emerging 20 Most Innovative Company, Top Emerging Company, and Category Leader. He has also been featured in and interviewed by Forbes, Dark Reading, IDG, Network World, PC World, TechCrunch, and Atlanta Business Chronicle. He has spoken at several technology, cloud, mindfulness, and heartfulness summits, as well as the United Nations, addressing tens of thousands of people. His own personal development journey was initiated by joining the Heartfulness movement, where he serves as the global director of digital initiatives to make benefits of heartfulness reach millions of willing hearts in over 160 countries. A widely read and traveled person, Sanjay has one son and lives with his family in Atlanta, Georgia, spending his time between his work, family, and heartfulness activities and teaching heartfulness meditation to seekers of inner and self development. We are extremely lucky to have you among us, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjay Sehgal. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks. Wonderful, very nice introduction. In fact, maybe we don't need all of this, but anyway, I think first and foremost, I am a heartful human, as I think you also read. Good evening to everyone, all the honored people from the colleges or the college, and also all the attendees. I'm very honored to be here. So please, I know some people were saying that thanks for taking time and all that. I think it's wonderful to share this knowledge that we all have gathered. I mean, many of us who are gray-haired have spent years in living our life. I think we feel very honored, we feel blessed that when we get opportunities like this to be able to share with everyone. Hope it helps you all. And I think today, as the topic is that how to develop positive frame of mind. Now, of course, an important thing in this is that uh, to realize that we shouldn't be so positive that we don't worry about anything, right? I mean, so we're not going to address that part today. We're going to mainly talk about how to have a positive outlook in life. And positive outlook is very essential, especially in the times that we are going through right now. And I thought before we start, I will just do a sort of level set here among all the attendees, including those who are on Zoom or on YouTube. And I hope you all are familiar with Menti. There's a Shantanu, if you can share that on the screen. We will show you something. There will be some kind of a survey here that will just tell us how people are feeling here. So what you do is you go to menti.com on your mobile phones, menti.com, including those who are on Zoom, if they can do that. And it will just show you a screen to enter the code 746353. And if you can just answer some questions. How are you feeling right now? How are you feeling today? See, when we are talking about using digital technology, typically when you go to a classroom or a lecture, you always want to know how people are doing. You can see them. Now, in the absence of that, we have these tools, right? How people are feeling, right? So people are feeling happy. Some people say, I don't know. Some people are anxious. Now you can see that, right? I mean, or we all can see that. People are still answering. Some are sad too. So Shantanu, I think we can stop this one, go to the next one. So as you see, what is your role? So we have a majority of the people who are listening to us are students, and quite a few are teacher staff, and then there are some others. Good to know. So there are a lot of students. Okay, I think we can go to the next. During these times, what are you most anxious about? Career, health, safety, and education, right? That these are the things people are most concerned about. That's very good too. Very good to know. Okay, I think we can. Yeah, we're good. How keen are you to get a positive mindset? Very much. That's good to know. That's very nice. Okay. Not at all. There are some people feel they perhaps are already very positive in their outlook, so they don't need this at all, or they don't yet understand what this is all about. Okay, fair. Thank you. I think we can go to next. Okay. So, there's something very interesting I'll share with you in my presentation. I hope you can see my slide here. This was a cartoon sometime back in a magazine called New York. Sorry. The cartoon said that it turns out it wasn't the giant asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, but it was the stress about the asteroid that killed the dinosaur. So, what it really means is that, I mean, this is, of course, in a way to kind of, this is not, the dinosaurs are not talking or they're not here to tell us, but this is just a scientific study somebody came up with, and it was more for fun. That sometimes it is not the problem, not the virus that is around us that can kill us, but the stress about it, but the anxiety about it, that can destroy us more. Another story I read recently, that there was a person who, during the time of plague, if you all remember, a few years ago, the whole world was, suffering from plague, and there was a person who met the plague virus. Again, it's just a story, and he asked the plague, "You come to my town now, so I must hide myself. I must be in lockdown." Plague said, "Yes, you should be. I have come here to kill 5,000 people." So the person went into a hideout. And after a few weeks, he came out and he saw in his town 50,000 people had died. And so he was very angry. He went back to plague. He said, how is it possible? You told me only 5,000, they're 50,000. He said, I killed only 5. Remaining 45 died out of the stress and anxiety. And, I'm not, just making up these things, to be honest. This is a reality. If you today, when you go to hospitals, I mean, I have many friends who are doctors here in US or in India. We hear these things, and I think, and of course, I must add here, anxiety is not unfounded. I mean, there are economic problems around us. There are problems of safety and all. I mean, outside the homes. I mean, we all read about the migrant worker issues in India and in US. As you know, we have right now a huge protests, huge number of protests are going on all over the country uh, about against racism and all that. I mean, it is bringing all these things out in a way. It's not that these things didn't exist. Migrant problem in India always existed. Racism in India always existed. And I'm not justifying it either. These are wrong things. But now everything is coming to the forefront. To me, in a way, a positive outlook, is actually disappearing from everyone's mind and bringing out the negative. There is a scientific data here about that. They say that it takes three positive thoughts to offset one negative thought in us. That's why positivity is so important. Some people say, well, we should be realist. Of course. But imagine if you have one negative thought, you will require three positive thoughts after that. And once you're in a negative thought, you're in a loop. It gets amplified, it gets amplified, it gets amplified. Suppose you start worrying about, oh, how will my exam happen? Will my exams happen or not? Will I go to next class or not? You will be in that loop. Now, I'm not talking about one thought here. I'm talking about here hundreds or thousands of thoughts related to that you will have in your mind. You will be in a whirlpool and you won't be able to come out of it. Now, suppose in comparison to that, if you're in a whirlpool of positive thought, it will take you away from reality, but you will still be better off than if you were in a whirlpool of negativity. And that's why it is very important for us to understand this. See, the moment two people meet on the street, anytime, not just these days, anytime, it's a common thing to talk about, to criticize the weather, to criticize the government, to criticize. I mean, this is a common thing. I mean, I grew up in New Delhi in my childhood, so we used to say in Hindi, government hi kharab hai. Government to kuch karti nahi hai, right? Like, I'm sure you have an equivalent of that in Kannada and Telugu and other languages too. I mean, and again, I'm just saying that that's our mindset. I mean, the moment two people meet, we, instead of talking positive, we talk negative, and then it gets amplified because we meet more people and it gets amplified. The benefit of positive thinking, there are many. Now, in fact, at least in US, there are departments called happiness departments, or of course mindfulness or heartfulness. Even in India, I think in some states we have happiness ministry, but I don't know how much research is being done here. Here in US, I am familiar that out of research, they have come up with happiness formula. They have come up with positive impacts of positive outlook in life. That is, they're saying there it keeps you healthy. It keeps you in a better state of mind. It improves your overall quality of life. It keeps you motivated. I mean, they have scientific study what hormones get come out if you are positive frame of mind versus negative frame of mind, and how you are more likely to take actions in your life if you are in positive frame of mind versus in a negative frame of mind. So with all these benefits, it is all the more important for us, especially in these times when the moment we put our head out, moment we open our eyes, we are only exposed to negative news. What do you see on TV these days? One person talking, 5 tickers going on the side and left and right. Most of them are talking stock market going down. People are dying. This is happening. That is happening. I mean, if you read about these things, what are you going to feel? So I think, and like I was saying earlier, other important thing to understand here is why it is so hard to come out of, why it is so hard for us to remain positive. Because again, I'll repeat, it takes 3 positive thoughts to negate 1 negative thought. I just thought I will kind of give you a pictorial representation of a week in our lives. I mean, I myself have gone through this or keep going through this. It's not that we are all human beings. So this is a typical thing. We start our week, we have some good news, we feel elated, we feel very happy. And then we just, happiness tapers down, we are in the normal. And then we have some loss or some negative news, we go down. And we stay in that negative low. Now, even if we get the positive news after that, we find it is harder to come out of it. Just observe that yourself. You know, you get a, whether it could be your career, your studies, your relationship, or I mean, whatnot. I mean, it could be anything. People who have children, their own children, you hear good news about them, and then you hear a news which is not so good, and you are in a way disturbed by it, and that disturbance remains with you. Our mindset is that our mind tends to get stuck in the negative longer than in the positive. Again, goes back to three thoughts to negate. You know, in fact, I kind of face this situation. I think as the person was reading my bio, I have done many companies, and it's not that all of them were successful. And in between, I did many which didn't even take off. Now, a principle that I have always I'm very fond of. I mean, it was a Winston Churchill's statement that success is moving from failure to failure with equal enthusiasm. And I really love it. And that to me really shows an epitome of positivity. You are not letting negative let you down, make you stuck in it like it normally does for most of us. So if you can really apply that in your life, and we're going to talk about some of those things, how to do those things very soon. Again, a few things I mentioned here in the slides, that humans are hardwired with bias for negativity. One of the reasons why we get stuck in the negative is that's what we are hardwired for, bias for negativity. It's a survival thing. It's a survival thing, that for survival we need to be able to think about the negative. You hear a sound. Remember the prehistoric days, a lion roar comes and guy thinks, lion is going to kill me, eat me. Lion may be thousands of miles or hundreds of miles away, but that is how you prepare yourself for survival. That is the instinct we have been given. Why? I mean, and sometimes, and it's not a joke, I'm sure there's a truth to it. We all are familiar with the famous shloka of Gita, Karmanyava Adhikarastu. Now, Lord Krishna even had to teach Arjuna, don't think about the result. And the reason which was not there in the shloka is because the moment you have to think about the result, your mind will go towards the failure. Your mind will go towards the negativity. And I'm just taking the liberty to add that second part to it. It is so relevant, that shloka from Gita of Lord Krishna, that if you can either follow Winston Churchill, going from success to failure with equal amount of enthusiasm, or Lord Krishna, where you don't think about the result, those actually are complementary to each other. So I think that is, to me, is the reason why we all need to think about positivity. And other important thing about positivity is that never think about removing the negative thought. It's like you can never remove the darkness. How do you remove the darkness? Bring in the light. How do you remove the negativity? Bring in positive thoughts, right? And as I said, 3 positive thoughts to negate 1 negative. So we have our task cut out for us. So let's look at what can we do. Or what can I teach you? What can I offer you from my learnings, from my experience of how to develop a positive mindset? We've talked enough about why it is needed, why it is important, and why it is so hard, right? So far, that's what we've talked about. Now let's see. Again, there is a scientific study on this that they say close to 50% of your mindset is something that you are genetically predisposed to. So you really can't do a whole lot about it. I mean, some people are born with a positive bone, and some people are born with a negative bone. They are like always the Chintamanis, they worry a lot, warriors, not warriors, warriors, right? So that is, of course, you can't do a whole lot. 10% they say is about circumstances. So it is the remaining 40% is what you're dealing with. That is entirely dependent upon you. And that's still a lot. So I may be born short or tall, fat or thin. I can't change anything about it. But how I perceive myself or how I utilize those things in my life, that is up to me. There have been, the most successful people have been short in the world. Many people have been fat. I mean, they have not let those things come in their way. I'm taking physical attributes, but it could be education too. I mean, some people may say, well, I didn't get opportunity to study a whole lot. Or some people are PhD. Nothing is good or bad here. It depends on your outlook. You have the Prime Minister of India is not very well educated, right? And so are so many. I mean, our president in US is also. I mean, though he claims he's educated, but the way he talks doesn't seem like much. But anyway, I'll not go into that. So important thing is really to realize that there is a lot we can do ourselves. Once I had read a book long time ago from a person by the name Jack Confeld. He gave a very simple formula. I think I may have a slide to share about that as well. And the formula was very interesting and very simple to understand. He said that in life, what we face, he said it is E plus R is equal to O. E is the event that happens, O is the outcome. Event that happens, you really can't do anything. There is a COVID-19 or 20, 21, 30. We can't do anything about it. Economy is down. We can't really do much about it. But to get the right outcome, R is the response. How you respond to it is very, very important. You can be worried about it. You can be, as I already told you, so many things about it. You can be worried. You can be inactive. You can just be down about it. You can be, or you can be positive. You can take some action. And it all responds, how you respond depends on the mental state. So that is the single most important power center in us, our mental state. Positive, we take action. Negative, we don't take action. I'll give you an example from the last time the economy was down here in US. I remember one of my clients was a dealership of Lexus. I'm sure you guys know it's a very luxury car dealership. And of course, the economy is down in 2008 and 9, and people are not buying luxury cars, and things are going down. And of course, many dealerships are closing down. They are laying off people. They're doing all those things. But one dealership came up with a very smart thing. They had a lot of cars in their lot. They asked every salesperson to take a car and start driving the car for next, let's say, a month or two. And within 2 months, their sales came back up. So they had actually, one of the things we were doing for them was some data analysis and all that. So when we analyzed the data, what we found, and we had to give them results of some of these things. One was that when the salespeople and their employees were driving a very nice car, it was keeping their mindset very positive. They were feeling good about themselves. They felt that their employer has done something good for them. So they brought a positive mindset in their lives. Second, when they were going around, let's say, to golf clubs, country club, restaurants, to coffee shops and all that, people were seeing those new models. All of a sudden, the whole town, and people are saying, hey, people are buying it. And then that creates then, they say that even positivity could be contagious, not just the virus, right? It created a positive contagion in a way in the people who saw that and who responded to it. So see, that dealership could have also not respond to the situation or respond in the same manner like everybody else did, but they didn't. they chose to respond in a very, very positive way, and it brought results to them. So I think I am going to just show you there are a few things that you can all do, learn, that will help you. Typically, now think about what happens when we are in a negative state of mind, when we are anxious, we are worried. Just think about it. You're typically, maybe your eyes are closed, your head is down, your arms are drooping. I mean, the first thing really starts with is the physiology, your physical body. Your physical body, because it starts impacting your physical body. You are in that, you know, I would say, bad physical state, and some people just keep sleeping as a result of that. Now, some people just keep lying down and all those things. Now, so one of the things that you can really do is, which even you know universities like Harvard have come up with this study, and they call it power position. They say that the first thing to come up with positive state of mind is start with your body. If you want to try this, you can do it. Stand like this, like Superman, with your hands on the hip. Stand like this with your head straight, with your back straight, and breathe deep for just 2 minutes. Should we all do that? Especially the students. I know many of you are sitting. You can do it on the chair too. You can sit upright, right? Keep your head straight, and then breathe deep for 2 minutes. And think and practice, I can, I'm able, I will succeed. 3 positive thoughts. So if there is a negative thought in your mind, hopefully it will negate those. Now, scientifically, this has proven that it increases your testosterone by 20%, drops your cortisol. Cortisol is what causes stress in all of us, by 22%, and you are 33% more likely to act. So that is, remember this is, we call it power positions. I remember growing up in Delhi, we used to have, my grandparents also lived with us. We were a joint family. And I remember every time, suppose I'm studying at home and I'm lying down or half lying down and studying, my grandfather will always come, you should always sit up and study. I still remember that. And I still have that habit. I never lie down and study. He said, sit up and study. He said, you will learn more. And now, when you see, Harvard, of course, all these guys are proving this now, what our cultures had for ages. But of course, they didn't have the study to prove it, right? So I think these things, these are not new. We all know it. I'm just bringing it back up again to your attention, that if you practice these things, every time you're feeling down, just get up, wash your face, stand erect, stand straight, and take some deep breaths. Think positive. Put 3 positive thoughts in your mind. You will find that you're more likely to act. So that is, I would say, the number one idea or suggestion I have. Now, earlier, somebody was talking about, I think Principal Garu was talking about the glass half full and glass half empty. I do have that slide too, by the way. They do say that the people who come up with, people who say the glass is half empty, they generally are the pessimist type. And the people who say glass half full, they are the optimist type, gainers and losers. But anyway, there is always the third type, which thinks that let me fill up the remaining half, as you said beautifully. But I think there's another example, and that's, how would you describe this tree? You can't type it. We don't have a Menti question for this. But if you think about this, when somebody looks at this tree, most of us will think it's dead, gloomy, but somebody may say it looks very symmetric. In fact, yesterday I was walking around here near my house. There are a lot of trees, as you can see in my back also. And I saw one tree, or every tree had green leaves except one tree, but it looked beautiful, just like this tree. It looked really beautiful among surrounded by all the green trees. Now it depends on the outlook we all have. It did not occur to me that yeah, I am a very positive person, I know, but yeah, that's, I think it's true. I think I did comment and I told my wife, this tree looks so beautiful. So it if we in our mind, if we can learn to reframe everything, I think that is the second thing I can tell you, that instead of thinking the glass is half empty, think, either think it's half full or think, how do I fill up the whole glass? It's about a situation. Now, let me give you some examples from that. They say that you can apply this in your daily life. Suppose we are thinking, I'm tired, have too many deadlines. I'm sure many students and even staff members are familiar with this kind of thing. You can reframe that in your mind, that I have an opportunity to focus on essentials and practice prioritizing my time. So instead of thinking I have too many deadlines, I mean, you all know that too many deadlines have come up because you did not prioritize certain things before. But instead of blaming yourself, instead of blaming your professor or teacher or whoever the boss is, think about this, or this is my opportunity to learn how to prioritize and see what I can do about it. And the second one, actually, I tell you, it did happen in my life, my family. My son, his wedding, he was supposed to get married a couple of weeks ago, and I know this from his life, that instead of, I mean, thinking that the wedding got postponed because of this, and his fiance is stuck in India, he's here in the US, that now they're getting to know each other better and share parts of their lives in creative ways without having the stress of wedding. They're talking every day, they're sharing, they watch movies. These days there are digital tools available. You can, same browser window, you can watch movies together. Same, I mean, you can watch the same movie together. Actually, you can invite somebody to watch the movie with you on Netflix, basically. And I mean, I know they're spending a lot of time together in creative ways. And some people may be thinking that graduation here means it's a more of a for students, that my graduation was cancelled. I know many students are wondering about that. And so because my graduation was cancelled, I was able to focus on reaching out and checking in with people who truly shaped my education. Utilize that time in a positive way. They say never let a crisis go waste. And they, in this positive frame game, we say that avoid silver lining. Often we say, oh, at least, I don't say at least. It was an opportunity given to us. A positive way of looking at this situation is, we as a species, human beings, had to learn few things. So nature tried to teach us in many ways, couldn't finally say, here it is. There is a bang. You're forced to learn how to be with your family, how to be more respectable to each other, to time, what you're getting, how be more grateful to nature, to God. In fact, today happens to be the World Environment Day. And it is a wonderful time for all of us to be grateful to nature, everything that we get without expecting anything in return. To me, if you can bring those things in your life, negativity will run away as much as you could kind of. And the third thing we say that is, broaden your scope. Whenever you are in a negative thinking process, you're in a loop. I don't have money to do this. And it may be a real thing. You don't really have money to go somewhere. You need to go somewhere, but you don't have money for that. But worrying about it is not going to help you. And constantly, if you're worried about it, that is definitely not going to help you. In fact, that is going to make you worse. That is going to make your health worse. As I said, your mood worse. I mean, everything, people around you worse. So broaden your scope. They say, how do you solve a problem? Put yourself outside the problem. Then you're able to solve it. If you are one of the variables in an equation, you will never be able to solve it. Only we can solve it. So don't make yourself a variable in an equation of life. Broaden your scope, and meditation is a perfect way to learn that. I myself have been meditating for about now actually 30 years. I started when I came to this country to US. I was 23 and a half years old. Now I'm close to 53. And I've been doing it for one thing which has been consistent in my life. I've started many companies, many careers, but one consistent thing has been meditation. And of course, my wife, which I haven't married once, but that happened later. So meditation, often people think, oh, it's boring, it's this. See, it's not. It's the only tool. See, when I started, I was very young, and my motivation at that time was, am I doing anything today that makes me a better person than I was yesterday? That was the only motivation I had to begin meditation. I also found it boring, to be honest. But I thought, well, I, I spend my morning till evening. I'm a young guy. I can learn new things. I'm in a new country. In fact, I learned in US. Some people think that in meditation came from India, but they say, the wisdom or stupidity has no regional boundaries, right? So I learned it in US. I said, I come to a new country. I should learn few new things, and I found meditation, something that came from India. But I don't think I would have been able to do it had I stayed in India, but I did it here. And it is not about becoming a different person, a new person, a better person. And that was my motivation. And when I started doing it, it was hard. It was boring. There are a lot of reasons not to do it. Only one reason to do it. I said, at least I can say proudly that there's one thing I'm doing in my life that is making me better today than I was yesterday. And that's the best gift I can give to my family. And both my wife and my son, they also do it. So again, I'll to summarize a few things that I have told you about. How do you practice positivity and optimism? Is that one is change your posture, power positions. Every time you feel this, feel down, feel anxious, feel fearful, your hands are uptight, you're sweating and all that, change your posture. Take deep breaths. Think positive. Bring this. I can, I will, it'll bring positive. All of a sudden, the whole body posture, whole body situation will change. Your mind will automatically become positive. Focus on upside of every downside situation. Reframe the situation that you're facing, reframe it. And then third is broaden your scope, that is through meditation. These are the three things. I don't think we'll have time to practice any meditation and all, but that's what I wanted to share with you all. And remember, one final thing here is people often think that successful people are very happy in life. But I will suggest you think the opposite, because opposite is true. Happy people are the one who are successful in life. I think with this, I will end my presentation. And if you have questions, I'm happy to take those at this stage. Or Shantanu, you have some more questions, I guess, or maybe we'll do it afterwards. You have any questions? I think some student was supposed to bring up, right? Some questions?
Yes.
Yeah, so as of now, we have two questions that I found in the YouTube live chat. One of them is how do we define positive or negative mindset? For example, children may see going to schools as a negative thing, whereas the elders are greedy to get more money or have other sources. So, just what's your take on that, sir?
So I think going to school is not a positive or negative. It's something you like or you don't like. That is, I think, where I guess children don't understand. They think it's a negative or positive. It's not about that. That is, you like or don't like. So one simple formula I'll tell you there is that I have learned in my life: you never grow in life if you keep doing things that you like to do. I keep like watching movies, but do you think I'll gain much in life if I spend all my life doing that? You have to do things, you have to come out of your comfort zone, as they say, to learn things that will help you grow in life. So going, that example is not about positive, negative, about earning money, this, that. I mean, first of all, there is nothing wrong in earning money, and there is, yes, it's not only positive, it's something that we all need in life. Otherwise, you know what is going to happen to them, right? But this is not about positive, negative. This is about them liking it, not liking it. And somewhere we have to teach them that you will not be able to grow in life if you keep doing things that you like. They don't want to drink milk. You think it's good for them not drinking milk? That's the perhaps only source of protein and calcium. Most of us end up, and many of us are vegetarians, especially. We don't have any other means of getting that, right? If all of us, I don't like milk either. I take it as yogurt, curd. But I mean, it's the same thing. So it is more about liking, disliking rather than positive, negative. You know. What is the next?
Thank you so much, sir, for answering that. There's another question. Is there a right time to do meditation? Because most of the professionals feel that they're too busy with their work schedule, so they hardly find time for meditation. So, what would you suggest to the professionals?
So I think, see, the first thing in the morning is the best time to meditate. I tell you, I started this session. It was for you all. It was 4 p.m. For me, it was 6:30 a.m. I got up today at 4:30. I meditated till 5:30, and then I got ready, and I'm sitting here in front of you. You can see the sunlight just coming out behind me. And morning is something that is more in your control. When you get up early, you start with at least few minutes of meditation every day. And I know people find very hard because something that you are not doing. I started when I was young, and so now it is natural for me, where regardless of wherever I am, if I'm traveling, I used to travel a lot before this corona hit. So before all this happened, I even if I'm traveling and I have a flight at 4 a.m., I will get up, go to the flight, and sit in the plane and do it. So meditation is something you can do anywhere, anytime. If you're taking a cab, if you're going somewhere, or if you get up, do it for a few minutes in the morning. And I think that those few minutes you'll find is a good investment from your side to get back a lot of time, a lot of free time, because the positivity that you will gain out of it, the good frame of mind, motivation, all those qualities that you'll get out of meditation will help you in rest of the things that you do during the day. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. There's another question, and this one came up quite a lot of times. This one is basically, how do we develop a positive state of mind when the situations around us are constantly negative? Maybe someone is going through a tough phase, or the tough situations like these. So, I mean, it's naturally more difficult than the normal times to develop a positive mindset. So, what are your suggestions to that?
See, that's why we are conducting this workshop in these times, not in other times, because these times, these here, we all have genuine things happening around us which are creating negativity, and everyone is justified. We all have lost money in stock market. Many of us are facing downturn in our businesses. Some jobs, some people who had offer letters, now the employers have told them don't need to join, or join after 6 months. Some companies have, I mean, education sector is very badly affected, right? I mean, if the schools and colleges don't open, I mean, you don't know what is going to happen, right? But what I have, again, I'll reiterate what I have covered today with you all is, see, events is something you cannot control, but response to it you can. Now, I cannot tell you, oh, this is a better stock, invest in this stock, or maybe that company is hiring, go there. That is an action only you have to take. Now, to take the action, you need to be in a good frame of mind, in a good state of mind, to be able to take good action to the events. Only then you will get good outcome. E plus R equals to O. Events you don't control, to get good outcome, you need to be in a good mental state so that you can take action. And I have suggested 3 things for you to remember. One is, don't put yourself down because things are bad. So one is physical, power position. Second is, see if you can frame all those negative things in positive, and there is some positive that can come out of it for you. Third is, meditate. That will help you think about the problem by putting yourself outside the problem. Then you can solve it yourself. Nobody can tell you the solution, or at least I cannot. I don't know everybody's situation. But you can find the situation yourself. You can find the solution yourself. Sorry, you can find the solution yourself if you are in a good frame of mind. And that's what I want to tell you. Hope that helps.
Yes, sir. Uh, so there's another question. Are positive thoughts related to our subconscious mind?
So, as I had mentioned in between, that about 50% is something that we are genetically predisposed to. So that is our genetic disposition. So which means it is coming from subconscious mind. So some people by nature are very positive thinkers, right? And some are very negative thinkers. They always worry a lot. So that is, yes, that is true, but not all of it. I said what I have read the data is they say 50% is genetics, 10% is your circumstances. Somebody may be rich, poor, may already be like, I don't have a problem with education now at this age. So, but somebody else who's young, he may have. So this 10% is circumstances, but remaining 40% is something that is in your hands. So not all of it is subconscious, because you can bring about that change in you. You can bring about the positive thinking, positive mindset, positive attitude in you, in your physiology, in your mind, and in your inner soul, to be able to act appropriately in every situation. Hope that helps.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So there's one more question, and that is how to express dislike professionally, or when some timelines are pushed by people in the corporates, how to explain it to them, or how to handle stress in the corporate life.
Well, I have been on both sides. I'll tell you. When I used to work, of course, I faced the stress, and now I am the CEO of a company, and I'm sure Shantanu and others can say, "Well, you cannot explain to them. This is not about them. This is about you. You can learn to deal with stress in a better way. Learn meditation. Will help you. That is the best way to come out of stress."
Sir,
Yes.
positive attitude and the emotional intelligence. How can we both relate, sir?
I think they are quite related. So I think one of the benefits of meditation you may have heard is they call EQ, right? Emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. It improves your emotional intelligence. So positive outlook, of course, it brings about. See what happens, the biggest benefit of meditation in emotional intelligence I find is, I describe it in two ways. It helps you to relate to others in a better way, others' emotions in a better way. That is, to me, the result of emotional intelligence. Second benefit, it helps you to relate to your own selves in a better way. So you can relate to others in a better way, you can relate to yourself in a better way. How? Now, suppose now some student asked, oh, I feel stressed. Now let me see if I can talk to my boss. So if you are able to relate to this in a better way, you will find that this is not about the boss. Poor boss is responding to something else. I mean, he has deadline, so he's responding. It is my inability to be able to handle stress because he asked, and I'm saying this. If you are able to think like that, you will at least be able to, you will not think bad about your boss, you will not think bad about your deadlines, and you will not be stressed about it. And that comes if you are able to relate to yourself in a better way. And that is emotional intelligence.
Sir, can I add here one or two points?
Sure, please, sir.
Yeah. Uh, Very nice lecture, sir. Fantastic. You have created the positive set of mindset in the audience. Now, one or two examples. The journalists or the media people during this pandemic time, what they do is, so many cases have been reported today. Positive cases have been reported. So many deaths have happened. Like that, only they project. Instead, how many people have been cured and discharged? That is not highlighted.
Nobody knows. Yes, nobody highlights. You're right. Very right. Absolutely.
One situation, sir. The best situation I'll explain, sir, in today's paper. See, your equation of E plus R is equal to O perfectly suits one of the situation which is existing here between the India and China border. See, there was some tussle between the two countries, and what our Indian Prime Minister and his team, what they have done is, yesterday they have signed some 7 agreements with the Australian Prime Minister and the Australian government. Now, see, there was some tussle and they were expecting a war. These same media people I'm saying, they were expecting that tomorrow morning there will be a war between India and China. But what is the response given by the Indian government? They entered into some 7 contracts with the Australian government, including exchanging their naval base and the training of the soldiers, all such things they have done. So this is the response to the event that has happened in the last week or 3 days before, 1 day before, like that. See, perfectly, the output is, situation is calm now. So, if you want to achieve some output like that, yes, mainly, you don't have a control on the E, you don't have a control on the O, but you can determine what O should be depending upon the R that you take.
Yes.
This is another live example which came to my mind. So therefore, I thought of sharing.
It's perfect. It's perfect example, actually. And that's what people who are saying that I feel worried or stressed and all that, you have to focus on the R. That's what is in our control.
In every situation, this is the one that people should understand and they should concentrate on R only.
Yes.
So that way, they can definitely be in a positive state of mind. At the same time, they can succeed in life also. Yes. They can live happily with the available thing. It is like, see, this pandemic, we were saying in a very jovial way, in a lighter way, that the pandemic has done the reset button is pressed.
Yes.
So everybody will go back 15 years, 20 years like that. You can live with that. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go to a hotel. You don't have to go to a mall, restaurant, cinema hall. But still, without that also, you can live happily.
Yes. Yes.
Ultimately, living happily matters. So
Yes.
our state of mind, happiness state, depends
Mm.
on our adjustment and our thinking.
Yes.
As you have rightly said, we should never feel that I don't have that. I want to get that. I don't have that. You see, that negativity should not be there. What we have
Yes.
within that, if I am happy, definitely I'll be happy.
Yeah, that is how, even if you want to say no, we should not say no directly.
Correct.
We can say positively only no. Why can't we do like, see, no should not come from the mouth, sir. But you have to
Correct.
give the
Absolutely.
answer the other
Yes.
way
Yes.
around. That itself
Correct.
makes a pleasant platform for everyone.
Absolutely.
Correct. Hmm.
So that is in my
No,
usage, sir. I am in practice that.
very good.
Good.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
I never say no to anyone in my life.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 Dr. Mamta?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Now,
Archie, any more
Yes.
questions?
Sure.
Archie, any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. There are two more questions.
Yeah, we will
Okay.
end by two questions. It may be the last question. Please
In
continue.
fact, we have a lot of questions. We just have to cut them short. And because of the time that we are left with, Archie's would be asking, combining most of the questions now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Archie.
Um, yeah, so one of the questions was, and this was asked by a lot of students, that most of the teenagers are uh, facing stress in these situations, in times like these. And also, one of the points was, do you think overthinking creates negative thoughts? Thinking too much about anything in general, do you think that would create negative thoughts?
See, the short answer is yes, but I also mentioned that unfortunately, the negative thoughts have this impact on us. We do get stuck. This is again proven by psychologists that we tend to get stuck in negative thoughts. So even if, so overthinking, yes, yeah, but what makes you overthink is because actually you are stuck in it. So till you make an effort to come out of it, you will keep thinking about it. You won't be able to do anything about it. So that's why, again, remember these three things that I taught today. Practice those things to come out of it, because it's a one negative thought itself can pull you down. And then if you keep thinking, you're in the loop. How would you come out of it? You need to come out. Now, as the sir gave the example of India, China, and Australia. Had Indian government just been stuck in China, 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 instead of that, they just went around that. China, one India is one side, Australia is on the other side. Australia is a developed country, very, very, very advanced country. And they just started working with them. Now it's a solution. But they could come out of the problem. They made effort to come out of the problem by finding a solution. So overthinking is not going to help you, and negative thoughts will suck you down. So come out of negative thoughts as quickly as you can. What is the next question?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for answering that. The next one is, so basically, as they say, be hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. So one of the questions was, is it true that if we are negative, we are relieved when something positive happens, or I mean, that is the general frame of mind of most of the people. So we can be negative in advance. So if anything good or bad happens, it's still okay.
No, actually, that's not. Prepare for the best. Prepare for the worst means you're in a mental state to take action, right? That doesn't mean that you're prepared for the negative. Prepare for the worst means you're prepared in your mind to take action regardless of what happens, right? See, I feel that it is not that if you prepare yourself for negative, that is not the right way to do it, because you get stuck in it. Then if positive happens, you feel happy, you don't feel happy. If you remember the graph I showed, actually there's a positive thing happens, you go up, negative thing happens, you go down. And even if positive happens, you actually, that positive is not as good as the previous positive. That's kind of how mind is. We tend to get stuck in the negative. And I would suggest here in a situation like this that you prepare. Here means you're in a mental state. You're in a positive mental state to act on the situation that is going to come down the road. And that could be negative, positive, anything. It's very important for us not to be in that loop of negative thinking, or else you will pull yourself down, never be able to bring yourself in a mental state to act. So hope I have answered that question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for answering the questions, and I'm extremely sorry to the audience if I have missed any questions. We have tried to squeeze in almost all of them. So sorry once again. And thank you, sir, for answering all the questions.
Thank you, Archie. Wonderful. Nice. So, Shantanu, you had, I think, last few questions on Menti, right?
Yes, sir.
We have, we'll go back to Menti, if you remember that tool we had used to just to get your feedback. But more than that, I thought I will, since Sir said about digital tools, said how we can use these digital tools very well in our lives these days, right? So if you go back to menti.com again and type this code 733638. 733638. So it'll ask you questions, and we don't get your name, so you can answer anything you want. It doesn't have to say, always have to say good or very good. You can even say fair. We didn't put bad. I mean, you should have put bad too. Again, menti.com on your mobile, 733638. Good. Can we go to the next one, Shantanu? Which one would you try for a positive mindset? Power position, positive reframe, meditation, all of them. Very good. Thank you. Thank you all. Did we have anything else, Shantanu, in this? How soon would you apply the learnings? Immediately is the best way to do this. And those of you who would be interested, I think on June 12th, next week, I will be conducting a session on, it's called on self-centeredness. And the title is very interesting. It says the world does spin, but not around you. Again, I'll repeat, the world does spin. We all know Earth spins around its axis. But the title here is the world does spin, but not around you. It's about, narcissism or self-centeredness. So going from self-centeredness to centering the self. So this is on June 12th. Okay, Shantanu, we can stop this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm Dr. Mamta. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you, Mr. Sehgal, for enlightening us with your words. Your talk was truly insightful and motivating. It is true that human nature tends to focus on the negativity, especially during a time like this. We all needed a surge of positivity and hope to get us going. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thanks a lot on behalf of Nagarjuna management and on behalf of BMSC team and management. Thanks a lot once again. And also, I would like to thank our director, sir, Dr. S.T. Gopalakrishna, and Dr. Srikantamurthy K, and Dr. Harisha P, and Dr. Jitendra for supporting us to host this webinar. Really, I'm thankful to the Nagarjuna team once again. Thank you. And I thank the team who are all behind this, Mr. Santosh and Mr. Shantanu, Mr. Peryaswamy, and Mr. Archish. Thank you. I thank them for this. And one who is behind this webinar, Dr. Rajeshwari Hegde. From the beginning, she was very curious to host this webinar. I'm very much thankful to her. And thank you, Raji. And all the participants and students who are all registered for this webinar and made it success. Once again, I'm thankful to each and everyone for this successful event. I hope everyone should be happy till the end. Happiness gives everything. Be smiling all the
Happiness
time.
creates success, as I said.
Yes.
Success doesn't make you happy. Happiness creates success.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.